Hello to the brahmacharis in the Ukraine. I'm very happy to hear that you're traveling in a bus and distributing books in the Ukraine. This is an ideal life for a brahmachari. I spent years traveling in different buses in the United States. One time I went to visit Prabhupada in New Vrindavan during a festival, and he asked me, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm visiting the temples and giving the Srimad Bhagavatam class." And he said, "You should get a bus like Vishnu Jana Swami and go into the interior and preach." I said, "You mean going to the temples and giving classes is not important?" He became a little irritated. He said, "No, I didn't say that's not important. Krishna's head is important and his tail is important. You should continue to go to the temples, but also get a bus." So I got an old bus, and my friend Hridayananda Maharaj joined me, and we gathered a few brahmacharis, and we went out on our bus. We had lots of good adventures going to the colleges and preaching. The two of us would preach at the same time. I would sometimes speak first. I would speak Dehi nosmin yata dehi komaram yovanam jara, how you are not this body, as introductory Krishna consciousness. And then Hridayananda Maharaj would say, "What Satsvarupa Maharaj said is Jnana Yoga. I will now speak on Bhakti Yoga." And he stole the show. Or sometimes he would speak first, and he would speak so long that there was no time for me to speak. So it got a little competitive, and we broke up our party. But we were attracted to each other's friendship, so we came back again and joined each other. And we did this several times. We would break up, and we would come back together again. We would break up, and we would come back together again. One time we had an old bus that had a defect. It was bent in the middle, and when it went down the street, it would scratch cars that were parked along the road. So we drove the car down one street in the city, and it scratched a number of cars. And this was terrible. So we didn't know what to do. We didn't want to drive out of the city and cause a hit-and-run accident. So we stopped and tried to decide what to do. Hridayananda Maharaj told me, "Satsvarupa, you can't close your eyes and pretend you're back in the Boston temple. You have to decide what to do." So I said, "Well, we'll put a little sign on each car window that we scratched and said, 'We're sorry we scratched your car. Here's our insurance company's number." And we put a phone number on the note and left it because we had an insurance man. But the thing about this insurance man is he never answered his phone. So they would call that number and no one would answer the phone. So we left the town with the cars all scratched. And we drove to St. Louis, Missouri in fear and immediately sold our bus to the temple president for a low price. The library party started at Prabhupada's request. I was Prabhupada's servant, personal servant, traveling with him. And he was in Geneva, Switzerland. And he was in a room and he was talking about the need to distribute his books to the libraries in the colleges. He said, someone has to do this, because no one was doing it. And although I was his servant, I spoke up. I said, I can do it. And he said forcefully, then do it. And so I made plans to leave his service as his servant and go back to the United States and form a party. I already had a group of brahmacharis who I traveled with. And we got some vans, and we bought suits and wigs, because this was an unusual way to distribute books. We didn't go as Hare Krishna devotees, we went as book salesmen from the BBT book publishers. And we represented ourselves as ordinary booksellers. And in one day at a college, we attempted to get recommendations for Prabhupada's books and show it to the librarian at the end of the day so that they would buy all of Prabhupada's books that had been printed and all the books that would be printed in the future. It was called a standing order. And it was very tense. We had about 10 devotees on the party, and they all worked hard to get recommendations from the professors. Out of all the devotees in the party, 2 were the best salesmen. One was named Ganasham, and one was named Mahabudhi. I was not such a good book distributor, but I was the only sannyasi on the party, so I served as a counselor and mediator among the brahmacharis. They all wanted to see the best professors, but I restrained them and made them take turns as to when they could see the best professors. Ganasham later became Bhakti Tirtha Swami. We traveled all over the United States and went to every single college, and it was very successful. We almost always got standing orders because the men were so expert in presenting Prabhupada's books, especially those 2 men. And the rest of us would sell individual books. And we would send the results to Prabhupada. And we asked the professors to write letters of appreciation of Prabhupada's books. And they wrote very appreciative letters saying, these books by Swami Bhaktivedanta are wonderful additions to our library, and we are very glad to have them. They're at the highest standard of scholarship, and Prabhupada loved to receive those letters. It was a delight for him. He got real life and was proud to receive the letters from the professors. He wrote about it in the concluding words to the Chaitanya Charitamrita, that the professors are appreciating his books. After the United States was completed, the library party went to Europe. So go on distributing books in the country of Ukraine. Every person you meet, tell them about Krishna, and your life will be successful.